Yeah, we're about to help out our good friend Henry. Is he in the database yet? Yep, he's gonna be there now. Henry Green. Yeah, we're helping out Henry Green. Well, I might as well read about Charles Dickens first. Date of birth, February 7th, 1812. And this is actually a real person, and that's probably his real birthday. A celebrity during his lifetime, Charles John Huffman Dickens remains one of the largest sources of information regarding the 19th century London. Known for being both a literary titan and an activist, Dickens' works showcase the life and personalities of London's working class people. That's weird to hear that he was one of the largest sources of information on 19th century London. I thought there would be more like historians and stuff. I wonder if that's true. I didn't think he was a historian. I thought he did something else. He was like a fiction and stuff, right? Or a fiction writer. If you ask around London in pubs that still exist today, most report that he was a regular. Imagine being a regular at every single pub. That takes dedication, RC. Is that true? I kind of doubt that that's true as well. My favorite contemporary criticism of Dickens would have to be Master Dickens, as in revenge for his own queer name, does bestow still queerer ones upon his fictitious creations. Dickens? Is that a queer name? I don't think so. Dickens was born in Portsmouth, the second of 8 children. He was said to have had, yeah, and who is that a quotation of? It doesn't say who's. You'd think he would say who the quotation was from. I think it was made up. That's like contemporary criticism written by the writers of this video game. Dickens was born in Portsmouth, the second of 8 children. He was said to have had an idyllic childhood up until the summer of 1824, when his father, John Dickens, was arrested for debt and thrown into Marshallsia's debtor's prison with his family in town. In town? To help pay off his father's debt, Charles was forced to leave school and begin work at Warren's Blacking Warehouse, a place that was notorious for its poor treatment of children. Not a creche to be seen. Not a creche to be seen? Is it supposed to say cliche? I don't know. Not a creche to be seen. Yet even after his father's debt was cleared, young Charles's mother suggested he continue to work. I never afterwards forgot. I never shall forget. I never can forget, he said, that my mother was warm for my being sent back. Sad. Once free of the warehouse, and after attending school, Dickens got a job at the law office of Ellis and Blackmore, living in the city. He attended the theater religiously, and inspired by the stories spun on the stage, began his writing career. Dickens, of course, went on to be world-renowned for works including Oliver Twist, A Christmas Carol, and Great Expectations, and his success as a writer continued throughout his life, with even Queen Victoria calling herself a fan. Perhaps less well known, however, is Dickens' powerful interest in the supernatural, which eventually saw him become part of the Cambridge's Ghost Club, an organization of paranormal investigation and research. One of the biggest controversies surrounding his life was his extramarital relationship with Ellen Ternan, a young theater actress with whom he remained until his death. Ternan and Dickens kept their affair a secret, destroying their entire history of correspondence in a bonfire 9 years into the relationship. In June 1865, Dickens was involved in the Staplehurst rail crash, but despite quite heroically helping to rescue other victims, he refused to speak at the accident's inquest to avoid having to disclose that he had been traveling with Ternan and her mother. Between 1868 and 1869, Dickens gave a series of farewell readings in England, Scotland, and Ireland. During this time, he also began working on what would be his final and only unfinished novel, The Mystery of Edwin Drood. Right? The Drood, right? Okay, that was the story that we messed up. Maybe we can find it. In June 1870, after a full day's writing, Dickens suffered a stroke, died the next day, coincidentally, the 5th anniversary of the Staplehurst crash. He was buried in the Poets' Corner of Westminster Abbey. Okay, whatever. Right. Henry Green, date of birth, December 7th, 1843. Whatever that implies. Henry is as good at keeping secrets as he is at meeting people. Many people do not, and most people never will, know that Henry was not always called Henry. Jayadeep Mir was born the son of a princess and an assassin. Yeah, I might have guessed that he had a name like that. Ba-dum-bum. Is that funny? I don't know. Arbaz Mir, a member of the Indian Brotherhood, fell in love with Pyara Kaur, daughter of the Maharaja Karak Singh. It's kind of funny that they're like, no one would suspect that, but he does have like an Indian accent and appear to be Indian. So you might suspect that his name's not Henry. But anyway, while racing against the Templars to find the whereabouts of the mysterious Koh-i-Noor diamond, I think that's like something you can play in the if you buy the extra crap that comes with the game, the bonus stuff. Jayadeep was raised and trained to be a member of the Brotherhood, but to the frustration of many, found he was more inclined towards books than he was to violence. Hoping it was just a phase, the Brotherhood sent Jayadeep out on a mission in 1860, which he ultimately failed, putting the Brotherhood at risk. Jayadeep was then invited to England for a more suitable mission. He left home, but was ever hopeful that someday he would return, having proved to be a capable field agent. Over the course of his time in England, he adopted many fake identities, but he came to love this very simple curiosity shop owning Henry Green. Henry, a name he heard often, and green being the color of his hat at the time. Brilliant. Thanks so much for all the unnecessary information. Having made connections throughout London, he proved extremely useful upon the arrival of assassin twins Evie and Jacob Fry. Right, I know that. For them, he helps in their quest to bring down the Templar control in London, having consumed as much information about the city as is humanly possible. While both sincere and hardworking, Jayadeep has a human side to him that many in the Brotherhood simply do not. He's a little sweetie pie. We love Henry Green, don't we? Okay, groups that encountered during your Helix session. The Rooks. An essential part of the English ecosystem, street gangs dominated the 19th century underworld. In an attempt to unify the street gangs under one regime, the Templar Order created the Blighters and attempted to remove any opposing forces to their cause. The Clinkers of Whitechapel, the last remaining independent gang in London, fought in vain against the mighty oppressors. Eager to turn things around, they welcomed twin assassins Evie and Jacob Fry into their circle. Spoilers, proposing a new idea to take back the streets of London under the Blighters' feet. The Clinkers took on the identity of the Rooks and decided to fight under the guidance of the Fry twins. Their main approach to undermining the Blighter influence is to sabotage their hold on different areas in the city, such as the Blighter-owned factories and strongholds, and then challenge them to a final fight for the territory in a gang war. I guess we'll be doing that. Nowadays, London doesn't really have street gangs like those. It's got students in bright jackets carrying clipboards who stop you and demand your credit card details instead. Brilliant. Okay, I think we've read enough now. We can take a little break. Reading. Save video clip.